just wanted to ask you one, since I have the mic, I'll ask the first one. When you mentioned the enforcement of the various laws, I know there's been a lot of misunderstanding around the certain law settlements that don't allow you to enforce certain things. And could you just very briefly, because there's a lot of misunderstanding in the community about what that means and why you can't enforce certain things, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, are you talking about the Jones?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, Jones versus City of Los Angeles is a matter that is a settlement, and by its terms, it applies to every section of the city, not just to Skid Row. That's one of the things that people sometimes get confused, that it applies only to Skid Row. It does not. It applies to the entire city. Under the terms of Jones, the city cannot enforce the prohibition on sleeping on sidewalks between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. But the city can enforce the prohibition at all other times of the day. All right? Now, one of the things that I think that falls into this issue is the oceanfront walk. And the question there is, can you sleep on oceanfront walk? And the answer is no. There's been a policy in effect for over 30 years, since 1989, that oceanfront walk is part of the adjacent Venice Beach Park. And since it's part of the park, there's a curfew. And, you know, let's talk about, for a second, to analogize this, the walkway from, I guess it would be First Street, to the stairs going up to City Hall. That walkway down in downtown LA, going from First Street to City Hall up the stairs, that walkway is part of the park. Just like Oceanfront Park, or walk, is part of the Venice Beach Park. And so, by sleeping on that walkway, you'd be violating our park curfew. And the same thing holds for oceanfront walk.
Thank you.
Now, the other one is Lavan versus City of Los Angeles. And Lavan is a much different application. Lavan is a preliminary injunction that was issued by a federal district court with application only to Skid Row. Now, this is under appeal right now. We are appealing to the Ninth Circuit. We believe that we're right in our appeal. The ruling is unclear, and in our view, it's erroneous. We cannot behave without caution here in Venice because of the law. The spirit of that order says that we cannot just seize people's property and take it. The court has placed protections on the property of people who are sleeping on the streets in Los Angeles down in Skid Row. And the spirit of that order will extend out. And if you think, well, listen, we're not personally subject to it here in Venice. Well, at the end of the day, that's just a court filing away to get it extended. So we need to be cautious about how we work through this while the Court of Appeals is considering it. And so you'll see what we're doing today down on Gladys Street in downtown LA. We've been working with LAPD and providing guidelines to LAPD as to how they can work within the Lavan decision, because at the end of the day, there is a public health and public safety limitation in Lavan. So we need to understand that, but we also have to understand that just because you're 20 miles from downtown LA doesn't mean that injunction can't apply out here by mere extension. We have to operate within the spirit of what the judge found in that case so that we don't run afoul of it and have that thing extended.